Hi, Master Mike Dunchuk and my student Jokyo Gabe Ruan. Today we're talking about fencing with the straight sword, or any one-armed sword, whether it's the Chinese jian, the Dao, or even Western sabers. Now, when we're in our fighting positions, just like you would do in boxing or any type of stand-up fighting, you have to break your opponent's defense. If I make my attacks just straight with no deception or trickery, chances are my opponent, if he's any type of fencer at all, he has a programmed response to know the correct angle to block. If I'm attacking him, he'll know exactly where to block. So if I want my attack to have a high percentage chance of succeeding, I have to do what's called a preparation. A preparation either overwhelms his defense or deceives him in such a way that it creates an opening for me to for my attack to find a mark. So there are 4 preparations that I'm going to talk about. They are the beat, the bind, the feint, and the envelopment. Now the first one is perhaps the most simplistic. It's called the beat, and it's called the beat because you literally beat your opponent's blade out of the way to create the avenue for your attack to come through. It doesn't rely on deception, it just relies on overwhelming force. The idea is that you hit the blade hard enough to clear the blade away to where he can no longer defend with it, and then you follow through with your attack. Perhaps somewhat more involving finesse would be the feint attack, where I do not make contact. I do not simply violently clear his blade away, but I trick him into overcommitting into one direction, and then I make my attack on the other direction. So for example, I may feint to his left shoulder, in which case he prepares his defense, but I never intended that, and then I ultimately come to his right shoulder. So the feint is any type of deception where I make him think I'm going one way, and when he commits to it, fool him and follow through with the attack I really intended. I might attack his legs, and as I go for the leg and he commits, it was all a trick, and I come up to the open area that this interference has been run on. The third preparation we call the bind, and in the bind, I make contact with his blade, but not violently the way I did with the beat attack. With a bind attack, I try to stick to his blade, and with a pressure, clear his defense to open up the line of attack. With the with the bind attack, there's going to be some pressure on his part because he doesn't want his blade to be moved off center line. He doesn't want his defense to be opened up. So you need to do a little wrist action and a little finagling, and sometimes your bind may be so unstable that you quickly want to follow in and grapple. So a bind is a great way to stop his attack, to immobilize his blade, so that you can safely come to a place to grapple him, maybe even freeing your blade for attacks. And this would be called wrestling at the sword. And if he grapples me in return, now we have corps à corps, body to body. And you often see that in movies, and this is where that comes in. The final preparation we call the envelopment. And the envelopment is truly a circular bind, whereas a normal bind has a direct vector of movement, a straight line, with him pressing and me pressing back. The envelopment is circular. So if I do an inside envelopment like this, I will curl around his blade and open here. And as you can see, we've opened up the belly for attack. Or the outward envelopment, I might bind it down and up here. And then once it's here, take his hand, find the attack. Or this way, same thing, bind, find the attack. So 4 preparations, and there are infinite varieties of these, but they're all based on finding that way to break the opponent's defense and find your way in to score the mark. So, thank you.